Hey there everyone, hope to see you all at the my next convention, BronyCon, in Richmond, British Columbia, August 19th to the 21st. And if you want to see how you can attend this con as well, check the link in the description below for more details. So this is the cart before the ponies, and I'm actually really great that this episode came out, because it has really interesting references, and if I do say so myself, an actual reference that I actually remembered learning myself when I was young. In Cart Before the Ponies, we have a roller derby that is going on, and the Cutie Mark Crusaders have to build themselves a wooden cart vehicle to go down the hill and to cross the finish line. They ask their mentors, Applejack, Rarity, and Rainbow Dash, for help, but in the limelight of the situation, they take over the job. In the span of like a whole day, they wind up taking over their jobs, and they take over their jobs and they act like they're racing their own vehicles. But they just rub it off and say that it's their vehicles, which is kind of a really bad move on their behalf. The Cutie Mark Crusaders try to step in and try to, get the carts to be modified to their own details, but in the situation at hand, they're literally focused on their own traditions that Rarity, Applejack, and Rainbow Dash are strongly focused on building their carts, that they refuse to let the CMC build the carts in their vision. So they wind up having to be forced to build the cart, having to be sitting on the side and let them see them build the carts. And as soon as the race comes up, that's when they race down the hill, and we find out that they're sneaky devils, and they wind up actually modifying the vehicles to their own little specifications so that they could cheat their own way to the finish line. And yeah, they are pretty cheaty, but it doesn't last long, as they literally they all run into each other, crashing every vehicle in a single center line, which that is, I think, a hazard in the racing industry. And they wind up, and the CMC wind up reporting that they did not build the vehicles, and their mentors did, and they do the whole thing over, and the CMC build their vehicles, and they race traditionally, and all's well that ends well for the episode. This was actually something that I really loved. And overall, I felt like the episode was pretty good in the lesson that it delivered. And with this here episode, this was actually a really wonderfully well-delivered episode. And with something like this episode here, I think that the lesson here is you gotta learn to speak up to yourself in front of your mentors, and because sometimes your mentors do not know what you're going to say. Or at least what you're thinking. You gotta learn to say something. Because they aren't going to know what every waking second you're going to say. Because this quite frankly happens a lot in my family, and because I'm gonna let you know a little something. Because of my speech thing or whatever, and because I quite often whisper a lot, there are some things that my family doesn't understand, and I have to speak up a little louder or something like that, or there are some things that needs to be repeated or something like that, or something like this in the episode. Like certain situations that happen here in the episode happen, and I have to do things like that in real life. This episode I can actually somewhat relate to in real life, and in a turn of events, I just... well done. Well done. You've actually done something that made me actually think onto my own self. So, in that turn, what were the moments that I really thought were amazing in this episode? I will say that there was actually a brief moment in the episode, like before the third act, where I thought there was actually going to be a song, but there was just an instrumental piece of the song during the montage where the CMC were trying to stop their mentor, were trying to stop the, the Rarity, Rainbow Dash, and Applejack from building their cards. But then when the third act came along, that's when the actual song came on. I'm like, I knew it! I knew there was going to be a song in this episode. I totally called it. And just when you thought that was going to be the end of it, there was one portion of the episode during the song when they made references to, I think, Speed Racer, like the old, anime show, not the film by the Wachowskis, and the, what was it, it was something by the Hanna-Barberas, Speed Racer, that's, not Speed Racer, Wacky Races, that's it, the Wacky Races, and, that cartoon by Hanna-Barbera where, you take the old, characters like Penelope Pitstop, Dick Dastardly, and Muttley, and sadly you can't see this on the new Boomerang anymore, but back when Boomerang actually used to play the old Hanna-Barbera cartoons, they had this playing every time on the channel, but basically they had that cartoon on there. They made references to it, such as the racer perspective, and each time the kart racers go, they would make the checker mark flag, the checker mark board in the montage. That's really amazing that they would actually do something like this in MLP. Took them long enough, but it was actually pretty worth it. Overall, it was pretty fun, and I'd say that in this, I say 7. 7 out of 10. Pretty good Gus, and it made me think on myself. It's rare that I actually would say that. Nah, but it actually would make me say that it was pretty good, that this episode would make me think on myself, make me think of some clever references, And just overall, it was a fun episode, and that these jokes in the episode were pretty clever to be very clever. So, if you saw the Cart Before the Ponies, tell me what you thought of the episode down below in the comments, and hopefully by tomorrow or today, I will get you the montage of the 5 years of Everfree Northwest, which include the clips of this year's Everfree Northwest, and also my review of the new DC film, Suicide Squad. So, until then, see you guys next week for the all-new episode. Later.